how to pose your couples easily every single time. Hey guys, welcome back to those of you who follow me, and for everybody coming across the channel for the first time, my name's Graham. I'm one half of Grey House Visual. We're a husband and wife wedding filmmaking team from Vancouver, BC, Canada. And I've been wanting to make this video basically just because of what I've been coming across while I'm cruising the internet. Now, there's lots of different styles to shoot. There's more editorial styles where people are kind of more in a pose. There's more prompting styles where it's trying to kind of set them up and get them to goof around, get like authentic, kind of candid reactions. But this year, surprisingly, during a lot of our consultations, we've had more than a handful of couples talk about how they didn't want a lot of posy or super glamorous portrait stuff in their films, which kind of surprised me because when we started this about 10 years ago, we found that that was the draw to wedding videos maybe back then. But as things have kind of evolved and come along, and social media especially has grown with the shorts and the shorter form content, I feel like a lot of the authentic, more raw moments are starting to jump out and be a little bit more enticing. That being said, we can overcomplicate it a lot like we can with everything in our trade. There's so much gear and stuff, and there's so many fun things to do. That being said, when you strip it down to the big moments on a wedding day, whether that be the bride's first look with her bridesmaids, any family members like siblings or dads, moms, them coming down the aisle, them hugging all their friends and family after the ceremony, hugging their friends and family during cocktail hour, first dances when you see their eyes and they're looking at each other's eyes, even with parents when it's the mom or the dad dancing with them and there's just tears pouring down their faces, they're hugging tightly and you just see that expression on their face. Those are the moments that we are trying to capture with everything we have on the wedding day. And those moments aren't hard to look for generally, but they also don't need any dressing up. You don't need to pull those moments. You don't need to prompt those people in those moments to get those reactions. They just happen on their own. So when it comes to those moments that don't need prompting, don't need directing, everybody else is stripped away. They're not thinking about everything else happening. They're thinking about things in the past. They're thinking about in the moment. They're fully present, and everything else, all the busyness of the wedding day is all gone. So why should portraits be any different? Those portrait sessions should be the points in the day where they can breathe the most, where everything else is gone. There's no feeling of any obligations. They're outside of all the moving parts of the wedding day, etc. They're just there with each other and a couple of photographers, a couple of videographers. So we don't want to create more for them to think about. And we shouldn't need to. Having them kind of cuddling each other or embracing each other in some sort of way and just leaving it alone, they're going to start to lean more into each other and they're going to start to do something a lot more naturally. When you're at home and you're cuddling on the couch with your partner, you're not asking how you look while you're doing it. You're not being told to turn your face a certain way or lean in a little bit cozier. You're sitting there and you're naturally getting more and more comfy. You're naturally going to start sinking into your partner a lot more, into whoever you're cuddling with. You don't need to be told to kiss your partner. You don't need to be told to do any of that. You just do it. So in a portrait session, it's the same thing. We notice all too often how they'll be looking at each other, they'll be looking in each other's eyes, looking up or looking down at each other, and their eyes will start doing this, and they're holding each other, and they'll start looking like this. Instead of looking this way at their partner, they're looking sideways like this. So when you have them set up there, and you're not letting that moment happen, they're being pulled out of the moment. You're not getting enough content of the moment because you're just trying to get that like little split second when they're not sitting there listening to you, or when they're laughing and they're getting set up. Okay, cool, we're here. And then they kind of like start to sink into each other, and then suddenly you start talking and then their eyes look away. So our job as filmmakers, once we make our final edit, is not have anybody drawn out by anything weird in the edit or anything off or that doesn't seem natural. We want people to be drawn in, sucked in, and sit there and enjoy it and not notice the cuts that are happening and things like that. We want them to just enjoy. And that doesn't just mean the edit. On the day of, while we're shooting, we don't want to be taking away from any guest's experience, or especially the couple's experience. We want them all to experience it as much as they can and be present as much as they can on the day. That's how we're going to get the best authenticity and the most comfort out of our couples. And it's going to portray so much better in your final product that way, as well as they're going to have a great experience all day too. They're not going to feel like they had to do anything for you. And they're not going to feel like, hey, that photo session was kind of stressful. You don't want them going back to their wedding and going like, okay, cool, that's over with. I'm glad that's done. Now I can move on. I mean, obviously later on in the day, they're looking forward to the party, but you don't want them thinking that they're having a break from you. You don't want to force all that on them, and you don't need to. So I hope this was helpful to some of you. I know it can be easier said than done, especially on a really condensed timeline with a super short portrait session. I've been noticing that's getting more and more common. But in my opinion, it's a lot better to have like 5 super awesome shots. I mean, again, too, you can do your wide, medium, tight and expand on those even more. But 5 super awesome shots of actual real moments happening than like 15 to 20 shots of really nothing happening and like people who are kind of awkward because they haven't settled in yet. We found it portrays a lot better in your final product, and your couple has a really good time as well. If you guys have anything more to add, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If this helped you, or if you have anything more to add, we love to learn and grow ourselves. Also, if you guys are looking for really good music for your wedding films, Musicbed has a free 2-week trial if you want to try it out. We'll link it down below.